Hey folks, Ray, Rainmaker.com here, and today I've got the new DJI Mini 2 doing a wind test, and we're gonna do a legit wind test. Right now it is 50 kilometers an hour out here. You can see this thing is raring to go. I just measured it before we started the video. It's definitely, this is like one of the sketchier ones of these I've done. I'm not gonna lie there. Also, I'll pre-apologize if the microphones are horrible. I've got a bunch of mics on, but the wind is just howling right now, so it's gonna be kind of tough. With that, we're just gonna get this straight in the air and see what we can get away with. Also making this more difficult is I lost one of my joysticks here as I was taking out the bag over into the brake wall somewhere. So that's gonna make this a little less than ideal, but you know, let's just do it. So, get down on the ground there. There you go, little buddy. Start recording. Okay, we've got screen recording on, we got regular recording on, all the cameras are going, and up we go. There we go, up in the air, not too shabby. Moving along here. So, I'm gonna let go and we're good. Not too bad, it's holding roughly steady. At this point, because of the optical sensors that it has on the bottom, it doesn't have obstacle avoidance sensors on the front. Let me get a little closer to the camera here. So, there's no obstacle avoidance sensors on the front or the side of the Mini. Instead though, it has ones on the bottom that keep it over things like the ground. So in this case, it's within the range of that, and so over the water it doesn't work so well, but in the ground like this or above the ground, not too shabby. We're gonna try and go down to the marker there and see if we can get there. The wind is going across this way, and it's definitely challenging. So what I'm gonna do to make this somewhat safe for me to get it back is gonna go out this way and then cut back so that if the wind picks up too much, I can always kind of pull myself back. So we're gonna head on down there right now. I'll just fast forward so you can get to that point and see in a second. Okay, so there we go. We're holding pretty steady right now. We're definitely drifting a bit though. So drifting up as well as drifting towards me. So we're drifting at about 1 kilometer an hour right now, back towards me. But you know, it's holding position fairly well. And you can see there's a strong wind warning right there. I'm bringing that back to life. Doing a little bit forward. Now, one of the things you may have noticed is I put it into sport mode, and that's because I want my drone back. And the reason is sport mode has a higher tolerance for speed, and right now this is all about speed. So I don't really care about stability, and certainly no obstacles out here to worry about, or I just want to go fast. And so if I go and switch over to normal mode, what I suspect will start happening, it'll start drifting. And so we'll give it a second here. There we go, we're starting to drift a little bit here. Not too bad though, so it's actually holding fairly well up there. Okay, so now you see a little bit of gimbal tilt going on. See if I can straighten it back out by pointing this way. See if I can get it to level back out again. Yeah, maybe. It's definitely, it's not happy about this situation at all. That's all right. I'm gonna get this back in view here, and I'm gonna switch over now to, come on, up we go. There we go. I'm gonna switch over to QuickShots, and let's see if we can pull off a circle around this. So I'm gonna go this way, and let's see what happens here. Again, sport mode right now, actually normal mode. I'm in normal mode, so not too shabby. And you can see it's struggling a little bit to get this around the corner. I'm gonna give it sport mode access to see if it'll allow help. There we go, now it's moving a little more. And yes, it is tilted. It's definitely struggling gimbal-wise because right now the gimbal is directly against the wind. At this moment, the wind is coming along the side of the aircraft, straight into the gimbal, so it's really making that struggle a bit. However, you could correct this in post relatively easily. It's not too hard. Now you're gonna see it's gonna swing back around again now that we have the wind kind of with it. So it's moving along, but I mean, this isn't shabby at all. Let's be honest here. Like this is totally legit, totally usable footage, especially right now as it loops back around again. It's kind of smoothing out a bit. So not too shabby at all, actually. Okay, and a quick note, if you are finding this video interesting or useful, simply whack that like button at the bottom there right now. It really helps out this video and the channel quite a bit. Okay, so let's bring it down a little bit closer to the water and try to get some of the wave action there. Let's see, dropping on down, and hopefully no seagulls. That's a little closer than I wanted. There we go, and we'll switch over to a little higher frame rate, so we'll do 60 frames per second, which I know isn't very much, but that's all we got in this thing, so we'll do that. Okay, wind warning, I know, it's plenty of wind. So not really getting a whole lot of great wave action. We'll go ahead and bring on the other side over here. What I'm gonna do now is show you how fast we can get it going. So I'm gonna bring it back over here, bring it down because there's a little bit less wind, and then we're gonna cruise. So right now we're going up into the wind directly, or trying to. we're basically static. So at this point, the wind is exceeding the capacity of the capabilities of the aircraft, and we're actually going backwards in sport mode, no less. So I'm gonna dip back down to the water where the wind's a little less strong right now. There we go. It's kind of a risky thing to dip along the water like this. Also risky to fall off the edge. But I wanna get this shot here of the wind and the waves. Obviously getting some kind of funky wind around the corner there, and now that's at this point basically as far as it's letting me go. A little bit more here, kind of cutting through this, and then we'll find a nice spot to turn around. Yep, I am full throttle right now forward, and this is basically stopped. It's going 0 kilometers an hour. I could let go, and it'll roughly hold it, starting to drift back there, but that is full throttle. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up a little bit, turn it around, and we'll scream down here. Okay, so we got some return to home for battery. So I think this is a good time to bring it on back pretty quickly here. See what the speeds we can get up to. 40 kilometers an hour, 50 kilometers an hour, 55, and I don't really want to go beyond the brake wall, because if I go beyond the brake wall, there's a pretty strong chance I'm not gonna get it back. So I'm keeping myself over the brake wall at all times. There we go. Or at least on this side of it, because the wind's going this way here. So it's pretty unhappy about the battery, which is fine. Get it back. Keep it on this side of the brake wall at all times. Okay. Now the winds are definitely picking up, so it's time to end this before we lose this thing, before things get a little bit unreasonable. So I'm just gonna let it drift back into my hand here. There we go, turn it off, and another successful wind test. Albeit, realistically, probably the sketchiest wind test I've done to date. I'm not gonna lie there. So, if you found this interesting or useful or something like that, just to understand the limits of the aircraft, then go ahead and hit that like button there. Quick little note about drones and wind and sort of your capabilities. Basically on the DJI site, it lists pretty much 3 different levels. One for regular mode, one for cine mode, and then one for sport mode. It'll also list a reference for the max wind speed allowed, which usually equals normal mode. The reality, the super secret of wind testing with these things is as long as the wind speed is below the sport mode category, the highest speed that the aircraft can fly, it can fly in it. Where I get in trouble out here is when it goes beyond sport mode significantly. And right now we're definitely starting to go higher and higher. You can see over here, when we started this test on this side of the water, there was no chop at all. Now there is. The waves are starting to pick up quite a bit out here. It is definitely starting to howl. Again, so let's get to like 70 or 80 kilometers an hour here pretty soon. So I wanted to get this in before we lost it. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully you found this interesting, useful, entertaining, something, I don't know. If so, give it a like at the bottom there. It really helps out this video and the channel quite a bit. And also check out my other Mini 2 videos that you should see up in the corner there. I've got 13 new things to know. I've got how to like fake active track with it. Lots of cool stuff. So with that, thanks for watching. Have a good one.